crazy, crazy year society, all of us have had with this whole lockdown situation. The place I wanted to start is just to ask how it's been for you.
It has been interesting. I feel like I got the lockdown, the first depressive part of lockdown, a lot later than everybody else because our work went through the roof. And basically, it was interesting because I had to learn styling, makeup, hair, all these things that I wouldn't usually do when I'm with my team. And I lost everyone because you couldn't have anyone close contact. So I just had me and a camera guy that was staying with me. So every job was like, I mean, we even had one day where we set up our own green screen. And we set the green screen up from 1 p.m. until 10 and then recorded till 5 o'clock in the morning. So it was like a whole day. So we were busier than ever. And then we started doing these online shows, which went really great, with a company called Veeps, which was good. And then I stopped working, which I thought was going to be really good for me because I was tired. And it was actually the worst thing in the world for me.
When you say you stopped working, describe your day at that point.
I mean, I was just finding myself on the sofa for the whole day, just watching random Netflix. I've seen everything on Netflix.
On your own?
No, my partner was there at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. It was wild, and it was dark because you can't really go anywhere. You don't really know what you're doing, and I felt like my career was kind of in a funny place at that point as well, and how I was agreeable with it at that time as well, if that makes sense.
Are you the type of person that needs to be kept busy?
I think so. I think I've had a crash course this last year in learning to have my own time. Because I mean, imagine from about the age of 16, 17, we're day sheet every day. So when you don't have a day sheet, it's like, what the hell do I do? And then the other part of it's like, you don't really learn what you enjoy from that point either. So it was that was quite difficult in lockdown because you have so much time to yourself. And then it was like, I saw something the other day about toxic productivity. Did you see this?
Yeah, I've seen this.
Obviously, they got a new ism for everything. But it actually made sense to me. If I'm not doing something that's productive, I feel like I'm going backwards. So then I'm trying to force moves. And I suppose that was one of the things I think I learned most about myself. I don't have to be doing something every day to feel good about myself.
Where does that come from? That do you think that need to feel like you're moving forward, or it feels like backward motion?
I have no idea. I think I'm just quite driven in that sense.
Have you always been like that since before One Direction?
You know, I think we just always worked. Like I was first on TV at 14. So that's young. It was an audience for X Factor, I think at that point was like 20 million people, which was wild. So I was like 14 years old. So from then on, my life's just been like doing the same thing over and over and over again up till this point. So I don't know, at times you fall out of love with it. And I think that trying to find, you know, and also you're not under any impression that this isn't going to stop at some point. Like a lifespan for a average pop star. I've outlived most lifespans with that sort of thing, which has been amazing. Really, really cool. And I think part of that's probably from starting so young, but you know it's going to end at some point. So you always want to find something else that you're good at to kind of safety cushion you almost. This is what investing has been my godsend in that, because I started that really young as well and trying to think about how I would do this or how I would do that, asking like our old managers and people like that, what they invest in and stuff like that, which kind of makes me feel safer.
And does that comes from a place like mild paranoia that this 100%. Might go someday, right?
100%. It's like doomsday prophesizing, you know?
Do you worry a lot, generally?
I think I did up until the last few months. I mean, having a lot of time at home, I think a lot of people had this same sort of thing. Alcohol was just really, it was getting earlier and earlier.
Yes.
Easier and easier to go to. And for me, I don't know. I think there's a slight little bit of social anxiety as well in it. That, you know, it was already hard sometimes to go out places for the thought that you might like get papped or whatever. You know, there's always that extra level of stress. So for me, I've always been quite withdrawn. So
talking about lockdown, so you go through that sort of depressive period. I think we all went through that, and I think for me, what I kept thinking about is like, if you just go with the lockdown, you're like, someone like me would just probably like hang around bed on my my laptop. What I had to do was like proactively, Steve, get up and do something today. Go put your shoes on, motherfucker. You know what I mean?
But then the thing what I found about that was sometimes you ain't Superman and you're going to have a bad day. And my thing is, if I don't set out what I'm aiming to do that day, then I become more depressive, if that makes sense. But it's just like, I think that the main thing for me, I mean, I've always called it like a small victories thing. And that's why I love the gym. Because if I've at least been to the gym that day, then I've done something. But then I started to like branch that out more. That it was call a family member. spend some time with my son, make sure I get FaceTime in. Because it was hard, because the first point of it, we couldn't see each other. And it was the longest I haven't seen my son in a long time, which was difficult. But then it was like, as long as I've done one of those things in the day, then it doesn't matter if I didn't do anything else. And it's like, what I found more than anything, and this with alcohol, with other stuff, is like boundaries. There were no boundaries. So, if you're on Zoom, you can quite easily hide that you might be a little bit tipsy at the point you shouldn't be. So it was like creating your own boundaries, creating your own routines. And that's where I think everybody struggled the most without routine. And I noticed you had a dog here.
Yeah.
Which at the moment, that's one of my things. I think I'm definitely going to get a dog because I need routine. I need it. So
you start drinking more and more during the lockdown. You realize you're aware.
Oh, I put on so much weight. I was eating badly. And kind of describing it as a bulking period. It was a dirty bulk. Don't worry about
intentional.
it. I'm doing it for a movie role.
It's part of the strategy.
Yeah, that's the best new excuse. If anyone asks you to put weight, it's for a role. It's coming out, 2022. And I put a lot of weight on. And what got me, I did one performance on TV. It was with the BAFTAs, actually. And I was disappointed in myself, but like, I was always a fairly sporty kid and kept moving. And like, I didn't look how I wanted to look. You know what I mean? There's anything wrong with that, but just in your own self, you know how you feel about it. And obviously, they say the camera adds 10 pounds. It definitely did. And I saw myself for the first time and I was like, oh my God, like I've completely let myself go in this. And it was fine. I kind of needed it. And actually, it's been the best outcome for me because I feel so much more secure in myself now. And I feel like I know where I'm at again, which is good.
Have you struggled to maintain consistency with the gym? I know I have. If you look at the last 5 years.
I did. I mean, training partners is the best one for that, and each of you putting a session together and throwing in different moves because then you're doing something that's a bit different. I mean, we recently, my training partner and I got to like a point where we're like a stalemate with the stuff that we're doing. So then we started like branching out to different gyms and they have different kit and then, but I'm fairly good with keeping myself on the go with it. I mean, like I say, the only problem for me was just alcohol. You can't train and drink and anything. You can't do it all at once. You're going to be a rock star or you're going to be a star in the gym. That's your choice.
And do you think you've gotten a bit of a sort of addicted personality in that regard where you'll get into something and just go all the way?
I mean, as an addict, I want to say no, but I know I definitely do. 100%. I think, but there's a lot worse things to be addicted to than looking after yourself. So, yeah.
What's been the upside for you? A lot of people listening to this, well, especially coming out of lockdown now, there's a lot of people that weren't able to go to the gyms because they were closed. And now that, some people just need that little bit of a push to understand what the value is of the gym. And what's the value of the gym been in your life?
I think,
because you're going twice today.
The value of the gym. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call the first one, the first one's more of like a wake up. Let's call it a vinyasa, like a yoga type. The first day I went to the gym in lockdown, I went and looked at the gym because I was like, if I go in there and start moving around and throwing stuff and whatever else, then I'm not going to want to go the next day. And then you have to slowly build it up. Don't go in and think you need to do 45 minutes because they're running in the magazine that they said this. There's no quick route. For me, you need 3 months for any significant change that you have. And then it's like start at 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and just go and feel it out. And then you'll find after a while, the exercises, you're like, oh my God, I only have 5 more minutes in here and I need another 5 minutes. And guess what? You can have them. So then it's slowly like we're up to, an hour and 10 minutes now. So it's like from starting at 15, 20 minutes. But for me, it's just, like I say, it's being able to get into bed at night and have that small victory to know at least I did this. And it was for me. It wasn't for anybody else. I think that's important.
And you're not doing it to try and get everyone's doing it low key to try and get 6-pack, but you're doing it because it's a lifestyle decision for your...
Yeah, I mean, I recently started jiu-jitsu and it's for me, I want to be able to do what a lot of these guys are doing. Like the funny thing, jiu-jitsu is super humbling because you just get thrown around like, it's like a tiger eating a gazelle or something. I mean, it's wild. So it's like as soon as that happens, and I was always quite a small dude. I've never been like a big guy. I mean, even when I did my underwear commercial, I was still like 80, I think I was 75 kilos. Which is super light, right?
Super light.
So when I'm in the gym, people are like throwing me over here and I'm like, oh, I'm going that way today, am I? And then I'm over here. And it's like, so I did want to put some weight on, but I put too much weight on at one point. I was like,
right.
I went alpha leather. But it's more for the fitness side and the jiu-jitsu side that I'm training